Okay, welcome in one and all. I'm now going to be previewing all of Week 10's action of the NFL. So starting with the Thursday night matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are coming into this matchup sitting at 1-7. The Bears aren't doing that much better. They're sitting at 2-7 on the year. So both these teams are struggling, to say the least. To me, it's going to be interesting to see as to if either of these teams happen to be the worst team in the NFL or NFC. Obviously, because the big thing with last offseason was the Bears and Panthers had the big trade, and the Panthers obviously traded DJ Moore to the Bears, and then in return, the Bears gave up their first round pick to the Panthers. So just imagine these two teams end up being like in a dogfight to who's going to get that first overall pick or who's going to finish worst in the NFL. So just imagine like Bears and Panthers being like 1 and 2 respectively. I'm kind of rambling on and thinking about like next April, which I shouldn't even be thinking about right now since we're only in November. But yeah, this is my little ramble just at the start. Just when I seen these two teams playing against each other, I just had to make that little side note. So I'm going to give the edge to the Panthers in this one. No reason or rhyme behind it at all. No, again, neither team has impressed me thus far in the season, so it could go either way. The Bears could pull this one off, but the Panthers could too. So again, there's no rhyme or reason in this particular matchup. It's just a flip of a coin, more or less. So the next matchup takes place in Germany, of all places, where we have the host team and the New England Patriots, and they're taking on the Indianapolis Colts. So to say that this is a season to forget for Patriots fans would be an understatement. They are coming into this Week 10 matchup sitting at 2-7, while the Colts, on the other hand, are just one game below 500. They are sitting at 4-5. And I do apologize for the quality of the video. I've tried messing around with this so many times, but as long as you can see the team's logos on the screen, that's my main concern for right now. So an early start, obviously, for those of us that are in North America watching this game, but I'm going to give the edge to the Colts in this one. Again, the Patriots easily could get this one because they should theoretically get the win, but they've been a shell of themselves ever since Brady has left town. So I'm going to give the edge to the away team, even though both these teams are technically away from their home. Now take a look at the rest of the Sunday schedule. So we have, back in America, the Baltimore Ravens, and they're taking on a team they're very familiar with in the AFC North, in the Cleveland Browns. So coming into this matchup, both these teams are playing pretty decently. The Browns are sitting at 5-3, and the Baltimores are tied with the Chiefs with the best record in the AFC, and they're sitting at 7-2. I want to give the edge to the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I just believe they're playing unreal football as of this moment. And when you have a quarterback in Lamar Jackson, I'll take him over Deshaun Watson any day, or whoever they have playing as their quarterback. So I will give the edge to the home team in this matchup. Sticking in the AFC North, we have the Bengals, and they're playing host to, where are we? The Houston Texans. So for both these teams, the records are fairly similar. Obviously, the Texans sorry, I shouldn't say obviously. The Texans are sitting at 4-4. The Bengals are on a 5-game winning streak. They are now sitting at 5-3 after starting the season off 0-3. And I still remember after that third week, I was like, holy cow, like if they don't turn this season around quick, they could slip through their fingers. Now they are back into a playoff position as of right now. So I believe they're going to keep the mojo going, and I think they will secure their 6th win in a row. And again, I just believe they're going to be extremely dominant from here on out. They have shown very few little something like my words. They have shown very few signs that they're slowing down or regressing. If anything, they're progressing in my book. So again, I will give the edge to the Bengals in this matchup. The next one takes place in Florida, where we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're taking on the San Francisco 49ers. So the team's logo should be popping up on the screen right away. So coming into the matchup, the Jaguars are red hot, sitting at 6-2. And while the San Francisco 49ers are still above 500, but they are riding a 3-game losing streak coming into this matchup. I'm going to give the edge to the 49ers in this matchup. I believe now that they have added Chase Young to that defensive side, they should be better. And again, I could be completely wrong. The Jaguars could pull this one off. I mean, they are home. And I believe for home teams typically should have the momentum going into any game. Obviously, you're going to have your fan base and stuff like that. But I just believe that this 49er squad, this could be like the tide that turns their season around. Again, they started off fantastic. They started off 5-0. And then again, they've lost 3 games in a row since. So they need this game if they want to be still competitive to try to secure like a number 2 spot. I believe it's just going to be kind of tough at this point to chase the Eagles for that number 1 overall spot, which I did predict at the very beginning of the season. But now they're 3 games behind them, so it's not looking too great. But I do believe they should finally stop their losing streak and secure their 6th win of this NFL season. The next matchup takes place in Minneapolis, where we have the Minnesota Vikings, and they are taking on the New Orleans Saints. So this one here, again, both teams are playing somewhat okay. They both have the same record. They're both coming into this matchup sitting at 5-4. For the Vikings, obviously, they had a huge win when it came to Josh Dobbs. They acquired him from the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. And for the New Orleans Saints, they've been playing okay, but again, they haven't been able to get like a 2-3 game winning streak under their belts. That NFC South is still wide open. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Saints are the only team in that division that have an above 500 record. But I think the Falcons are 4-5, while the Saints are 5-4. So it's a game separating those 2 teams in the standings. I will give the edge to the away team in this matchup. I just believe that Derek Carr is the better quarterback in this matchup when it comes to him facing off against Josh Dobbs. Again, not trying to disrespect Dobbs. He pulled off a miraculous win last week in his first start as a member of the Vikings now that they've lost Kirk Cousins for the remaining of the season. But I just have faith in Derek Carr, and he should be able to prevail and get a victory in this matchup. The next game takes place in the Steel City, where we have 2 teams that have known each other for quite some time. The Green Bay Packers are heading into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. These teams have opposite records. The Packers, despite having a win last week, are sitting at 3-5, while the Steelers are sitting at 5-3. Pretty comfortable. That AFC North is going to be awfully tight when it comes to the teams because all these teams are above 500. All these teams have at least 5 wins. So I think it's going to be a dogfight from here on out as to who's potentially going to either secure a division crown or who's going to make an appearance as a wild card team. I'm going to give the edge to the hometown Steelers. Again, I just believe they are the better team between these 2 that are lined up. And for the Packers, I just think it's going to be a long season. Again, they're already 2 games below 500 at this rate, and it's going to be hard to play catch-up when you're almost halfway done your season. So, again, I will give the edge to the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup. I believe they should be the better team and get their 6th win of this season. The next matchup takes place in Florida. Again, this time we're off to Tampa Bay, where we have the host Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're taking on the Tennessee Titans. Both of these teams are coming into this matchup with the same record, both sitting at 3-5 respectively. So this could be a make or break game for both of these teams, for one of these teams. If I'm going to be honest with you, if you fall to 3-6, I just believe it's going to be really hard to go on a 3-game winning streak to get back to 500. Not to mention the teams that you are trying to chase for a wild card spot. Because let's be realistic, when you're 3-6, you're probably not going to get a division crown. As far as I know, all team leaders or all team division leaders are above 500. So again, for both the Titans and Buccaneers respectively, trying to catch their division foes for that top spot is going to be very tough. So I'm going to give the edge to the Titans in this one. I've been burned so many times when I pick the Buccaneers. Every time I pick them, they lose. So I'm just going to go with my gut on this one, and I say the away team will be victorious in this matchup. The next matchup takes place in Arizona, where we have the host Cardinals, and they're taking on the Atlanta Falcons. So 2 bird teams are set to square off in Arizona. The Cardinals are coming into this matchup sitting at 1-8. The Falcons are sitting at 4-5. So obviously, if the Falcons were to get this victory and say the Saints were to lose, then they'd be tied for first in that NFC South division. As for the Cardinals, again, the season has just been a derailment. If I want to be completely honest with you, again, how this team fell so far from grace over the last 2 seasons is mind blowing. Considering back in the 21, 22, 2021, 2022 campaign, they almost got a division crown. They kind of stumbled at the end. They ended up playing in the Rams, lost to them in the wild card matchup, and then I have not had success ever since then. Last year was a failure. This year's looking even worse. Yeah, there's speculation that Kyler Murray could be playing, could be back in this game, but again, I feel like it's too little too late to try to salvage your season, because once you have 8 losses, the only way you can have an above 500 record is if you win 8 straight games. And let's be realistic. These Cardinals are not in any shape or form to get 8 straight victories. So I will give the edge to the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup. Okay, the next matchup takes place in Los Angeles, where we have the Chargers, and they're playing against a pretty decent team, if I'm going to be honest with you, in the Detroit Lions. These teams are sitting fairly comfortably. Obviously, the Chargers got a huge win last week to get back to 500, sitting at 4-4, while the Detroit Lions are still coasting on their NFC North number 1 spot. And it looks like it's going to be very hard for teams to catch up to them, as I believe they have a 2-game lead, or at least a 1-game lead over the Vikings. But again, I just believe this. I believe in this Lions team now more than ever. I think they should be able to compete not only for a playoff spot, but for a division crown. And with that being said, I think they'll pull this one off and get a victory over the Chargers. Next matchup takes place in Texas, where we have the Dallas Cowboys, and they're taking on a team from the NFC East, a team they're very familiar with, and the New York Football Giants. The Giants are heading into this matchup sitting at 2-7, while the Cowboys, after a tough loss to the Eagles, are sitting at 5-3. I'm always going to give the edge to the Cowboys in this matchup. The big reason being is because the Giants have been struggling all season, to say the least, and obviously the big news is Daniel Jones, their quarterback, is out for the remainder of the season. So there goes your franchise QB for the remainder of the 2023 campaign. So again, I believe the Cowboys should be able to prevail and get back in the win column, getting their 6th win of the season over this Giants squad. The next matchup takes place in Seattle, where we have the Seahawks, and they are playing host to the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are coming into this matchup sitting at 4-5, while the Seahawks are sitting at 5-3. So they have the same record as the 49ers. So this is a crucial game for the Seahawks, to say the least. For the Commanders, again, this is a season that's probably falling through their fingers more than they would have hoped. Again, they had a pretty decent start to the season, but now they're below 500, and I believe the Seahawks should get the victory in this one. That's the team I'm going to go with. And if that is the case, then Washington would at that point would be 2 games below 500. And again, like I said previously, it's very tough to go on 2-3 game winning streaks, especially when you have to rely on other teams that are ahead of you in the standings to fall and go on 2-3 game losing streaks at the same time. So with that being said, again, I am going to favor the Seahawks in this matchup. The Sunday night matchup takes place in Nevada, where we have the host Las Vegas Raiders, and they are playing against the New York Jets. The Jets are coming into this matchup sitting at 4-4. That can't be right. They're either 4-4 or 5-4 or 4-5. I do apologize. I wrote down 4-4, but we're in week 10, and they already had their bye week. Oh, sorry, I'm mistaken. That's my fault. They are sitting at 4-4 because if they win or lose, they'll either be 5-4 or 4-5. Okay, that's my bad. And then for the Las Vegas Raiders, they're coming into this matchup sitting at 4-5. There we go. Now, so both these teams have 4 wins on this season. Both these teams have underperformed, if I'm going to be honest with you. Obviously, the Jets had a lot of expectations coming into this season. The big thing with Aaron Rodgers now being out potentially for the rest of the season, they have to put all their faith in Zach Wilson, who has not lived up to his expectations, especially after being drafted so high a couple, 2-3 seasons ago. And obviously, the big news for the Raiders are they lost, they got rid of their coach and GM, and now they're trying to start a new chapter in this franchise's history. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're going with their rookie quarterback in this matchup. I believe he's played the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. So it all goes. It really makes you think that the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing, was it really worth it? They paid him a lot of money, but now he's not playing. So I don't know. Both these teams again kind of flip floppy. Obviously, the Raiders got a huge victory last week when they obviously in their first game after relieving McDaniels of his head coaching duties. I believe they're going to keep the momentum going. They should get back to 500 football. Again, these are both teams that are struggling to say the least. So I'm just gonna again. So it could be a flip of a coin. The Jets could pull this one off, but I just have a funny feeling the Raiders are going to be able to get this victory under their belts and get back to playing 500 football. Okay, kind of went on a bit of a rant there. So the last game, the Monday night matchup, takes place in New York, where we have the Buffalo Bills, and they're playing against my team, my guys, and the Denver Broncos. Two things to take away from this game is obviously the Bills are struggling to say the least. They are not where I believe any team expected them to be, sitting at 5-4. They're technically only a game behind the Dolphins, which isn't that big of a deal. But the fact that they've been win-loss, 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 and it's just been very inconsistent to say the least. So as for the Broncos, they got off to a very poor start. I believe they've now won 2 straight games to get their record back to 3-5. So this is going to be a make or break game for both these teams. If the Broncos can somehow pull this one off, that'd be fantastic. Then they'll be pushing their way back to 500 football. As for the Bills, they need this victory because if you fall to 5-5 and then you're already a game or so behind the Dolphins, good luck trying to catch up to them because, again, you're hoping that other teams lose and you have to win in order to be able to get over that hump. So, again, a crucial game for both these teams. Obviously crucial for the Bills since they're still in a playoff picture. But I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one. As much as I want to cheer on my team and I have faith in the defense that they've finally woken up, I just believe this is a crucial game for the Bills. And I think they should get the victory. And obviously the big other news, or the other thing is it's going to be Von Miller's first game against his former team after being traded away in the 2021-2022 campaign. So it's going to be very intriguing. I'm sure he'll be happy to see some of his former teammates. So the teams that are on their bye week are the Miami Dolphins. They are sitting at 6-3. The Kansas City Chiefs also have their bye week. They are sitting at 7-2. The Los Angeles Rams have their bye week. They are sitting at 3-6. And the Philadelphia Eagles, by far the best team in the NFL, they are sitting at 8-1. Where am I? So, with my overall record with the NFL picks, I'm now sitting at 79-50. We'll see how I do once Thursday, Sundays, and Mondays games are done respectively. If I'm still where I'm at, it's still over 500, and I should be. There's only 16, 15 games or 14 games on tap. So, 79-50 is where my overall record is so far on this NFL prediction schedule. If you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful. Sorry. And very appreciative at the same time. And as always, take care.